Welcome along to your Met Office weekend forecast with a little bit of next week thrown in for good measure. First up though, let's focus on Saturday and Sunday, which will be dominated by high pressure and therefore a lot of dry weather. This weather front will bring some rain across Scotland and Northern Ireland during Saturday, but it scoots out of the way, and by Sunday we're back to square one with high pressure continuing to dominate. We will see something of a change though through the weekend. If we rewind the clock, we start in between these weather fronts. This is what's called a warm sector, so the mild conditions to end this week will continue into Saturday, but as that weather front pushes southwards, it's a cold front, so it will be introducing cooler conditions from the north during Saturday night. So Sunday is likely to see temperatures a few degrees lower compared to Saturday, but with high pressure in control, we should also see plenty of sunshine. OK, let's put a bit more detail on, starting with Saturday, those two weather fronts straddling the country. In between, mild air, but also quite a lot of cloud. Some brightness is likely here and there, particularly to the east of hills. And there's that weather front bringing some rain to western Scotland by lunchtime, spreading across Northern Ireland and then pushing into the central belt and southern Scotland by the end of the day. So there will be some rain across Scotland and Northern Ireland during Saturday, probably clearing from the west of Northern Ireland and from the Highlands by the afternoon. Apart from a bit of drizzle over western hills, most of England and Wales will stay dry, with fairly cloudy conditions, but also reasonably high temperatures, double digits across the board. A bit of brightness, we could easily see 11 or 12 degrees Celsius. Now that weather front will continue to drift southwards during Saturday evening, so bringing a bit of patchy rain to parts of northern England and Wales, but it's fizzling out because high pressure is quickly, as we saw earlier, building back in behind it. Under this high, we'll see clearer skies, which means plenty of sunshine by Sunday, but also on Saturday night with the clearer skies, it will turn quite a bit colder with certainly a rural frost across much of northern Britain likely on Sunday morning. But then, by and large, a fine, bright day. Still quite windy across northern parts of Scotland, but generally, for most places, light winds, sunny spells, a fine day. Yes, temperatures close to freezing maybe to start the day, and by the afternoon up to 7 or 8 degrees Celsius, maybe 9 here or there. These temperatures will be lower than Saturday's, but still around about average for the time of year. Get in the sunshine with light winds. It shouldn't feel too bad at all during Sunday. Sunday night will turn pretty chilly. If we take a quick look into next week, that area of high pressure still dominating. We have another one of these weather fronts trying to topple in during Tuesday, but with high pressure either side, the same thing will happen. It'll kind of fizzle out as it pushes southward. High pressure likely to dominate well into next week. In fact, if we take a look at some of the computer model projections for the middle part of next week, this is the European model. And let's just zoom in a little bit. The UK's here, but we can see that high pressure is still likely to dominate to the east of the UK, keeping things mostly dry. It is likely to turn a little colder next week with high pressure. That means the likelihood of nighttime frosts. But is it going to turn exceptionally cold? There has been a bit of chitter-chatter about this, particularly on social media, because one computer model has been pretty bullish about predicting a colder spell through next week, and that is the GFS model, or the American model. Let's take a look at that. Again, the UK is here. Perhaps if we zoom in a little bit more. It's got a similar setup with high pressure to the east and low pressure just here, but because it's all shifted a bit further north, that would allow an easterly wind to bring much colder conditions across the UK. However, this is now considered what we call an outlier, something that's pretty unlikely to happen. It's not necessarily that useful just to look at one computer model run. It's much better to run the model many times, and then we have what's called an ensemble forecast, and then we can generate probabilities of certain things happening. And that's what we've got here. So, is it going to turn colder next week? Well, probably yes, a little bit. Is it going to turn exceptionally colder? That is unlikely. These probability maps through next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way to Saturday, are highlighting where we could see temperatures 2 degrees below average. It's quite a high chance then. Tuesday and Wednesday up at 60%, maybe even 80%. The temperatures, particularly for England and Wales, will be at 2 degrees below average. Nothing exceptional about that, but it will be colder than it is at the moment. If we change that to 4 degrees below average, notice how the probabilities really drop off. The chances of temperatures being 4 degrees below average through next week are pretty slim. And the chances of any snowfall, well, that is even lower. These charts show the probability of seeing a centimetre or more of snow on any of these days. And actually, across England and Wales, that chance is next to zero. If anything, we're more likely to see weather fronts again toppling in, bringing some snow over the mountains of western Scotland. Again, nothing unusual about that. So what we can say about next week is high pressure is likely to dominate, bringing a lot of dry weather. It will be colder than this week, but it doesn't look anything exceptional. We'll see the return of nighttime frosts, and that likelihood of a very cold spell is pretty small, and the chances of significant snowfall from that are even smaller. As always, we will keep you up to date as things progress through next week, and make sure you're following us right across social media.